Well, I have to disagree just a little bit with you. Last week, the first hour was quite okay, going towards good. Last 30 minutes wasn't that good. Today was a whole different ball game. We had to come back from a goal down, but I wasn't quite satisfied with the performance in general because I thought we were too sloppy, losing possession too fast, too quick. So then it becomes a game that goes up and down, and they try to get us in wide areas with crosses and stuff like that. So controlling the ball is what we're looking for, and that was a little off today. So I'm happy with the win because I told my guys also there will be phases like this in games that we have to fight and stay together and try to grind and make sure that we get the job done, and that's what they did today. So that's also an aspect that I'm very happy with, but still a lot of work to be done.
Scott?
Hey, Coach. Scott Church, Stream Point Soccer.
Hi, Scott.
Thanks. Congratulations on the win, but more specifically, after the goal was given up, the own goal, in the first half, what did you say to the team in that moment? Thanks.
Nothing specific. It's something that we've touched on during preseason already, discussing several scenarios. So in preseason, we also had a moment there in one of the friendly games that we went a goal down. Sticking to the plan, try to execute even better what we're trying to get achieved on the pitch is the message at all times. But it gave us a chance also when Nico Carvalho had to come off to change the shape a little bit in order to stay in a good shape with Burke on the left side. And he's not a left fullback by nature, so we had to change our shape a little bit, and we got a little more control in that phase.
Alec?
Hey, Coach. Alec, Five
Hi,
Row Footy. Something in my research sort of you that I've seen that your teams are sort of marked by is like a sort of uptick in what most people would consider more effort stats, things like the press, and more specifically with New York, as we've seen it, a pretty large uptick in aerial duels and second balls won.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering how you go about motivating a team to kind of start pushing toward those types of things and winning more of those things.
I wasn't aware of those stats, but it makes sense. We try to play with a lot of energy, a lot of intensity on and off the ball, and when you force the mistakes on your opponent, most likely they will play long or direct balls. And in order to control that moment, you need to be good in the air and control the second or the third situation coming from that aerial duel. So my guys understand this principle that we're trying to drill into them, and I take your word for it, but it's good to hear that our stats are going that way in order to control these moments, because it's a part of our strategy in our game.
We'll go with Justin, followed by Javier.
Hey, Coach. Justin Egan, the outfield. One of the things that you mentioned this week is that you wanted to see how your team would respond after a win. What did you think of the mentality today?
Very proud, very proud. As I mentioned to your colleague just now, coming back from a goal down, you have to bear in mind that New England hadn't scored a goal yet this season. Going back to last season, they lost their 4 final games of the season, conceded 17 goals in total in 7 games, and only scored 4. So from their perspective, they're always looking for that moment to rise up again and look at the mental aspect of the game. So for them, getting that first goal that we scored for them was a huge moment for them, but also a very interesting one for us. So as I told you guys just now, I'm very proud of that aspect, because you need to stay in the game and stay really focused. And that's what we did. So the execution in the transition was perfect with the goal with Juli. And then the goal from Alonso was from a set piece, also indirect. So we pay a lot of attention to these aspects, because it can change games like you see today.
Javier?
Hey, Coach. Javier, City Boys. It's kind of funny. On Thursday, I asked you, are you planning on starting Nico, or are you thinking about changing the formation? It kind of panned out where both happened today. Can you talk a little about his performance and a little more about the injury? Do you know any updates?
The injury is in the groin area. We don't know any specifics yet, so we'll have to wait and see first. So I'm gonna look closely to the medical staff and see what comes from this situation. The first part of your question with Nico playing, that was quite obvious for me because he had a very strong pre-season, so I had no worries putting him in for Kevin. And during the week, I was looking at him during the training sessions to see if he would show the same behavior as I saw in pre-season, and he did exactly that. So the kid was ready to play. And during this game, you could see he's comfortable on the ball. He doesn't panic, apart from maybe 2 or 3 situations where he just kicks the ball long under pressure. But overall, very composed and very calm and stable on the ball. So it was very unfortunate for him to lose him, and hopefully it won't be too serious.
We're going to go with Rich in the front row, followed by John.
Coach, Martinez and Fernandez, over here, they play real well. They seem to always come up strong here. Can you explain their contributions tonight, how significant they were tonight?
If you look at the score sheet, their contribution was quite good this game. On the other hand, I see them train every day, and they work so hard to improve themselves. Because that's the culture we are molding together. Never satisfied. So, and that is something that these guys have in their DNA. Alonso, of course, is like he's always hunting for his goals. Sometimes a little bit too much, that he's lacking the oversight to the other players. But it's a very strong quality of him. And Juli is trying to establish himself in the team as much as he can by the work rate that he brings on the pitch. On the training pitch, I see the exact same behavior. So I'm happy for them because they're part of our team and make us successful, as you saw today.
John?
Hey, John Bainey, Footy Banter. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
It seemed like there was maybe a slightly deeper line of confrontation tonight and also slightly less possession than the last handful of games.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a tactical decision pre-planned, or was that kind of as a result of the injury or just the flow of the game? Thanks.
Good observation. Unfortunately, it was a combination of a few situations. The flow of the game, as I explained earlier on, in possession, I thought we were too sloppy today, so that gets another rhythm going in the game. The final part of the game, it's about making sure that we keep our organization as tight as possible, because we're also strong from the counter-attack, like you saw with the first goal that we made. So it's also understanding what kind of qualities you have within the squad. And game management is something I mentioned early in the season already. So from that aspect, I'm very happy. But looking at the the strategy of the opponent, they changed a few things going into this game. If you look at their 3 previous games, they didn't play the way they did today. So that's a huge compliment for the opponent as well. Bringing a lot of bodies down, trying to get us out of our positions. So we were having difficulties finding the pressure that we're looking for in out of possession. But that was also credits to the opponent today. So that gives us a lot of homework again going in the process forward to becoming a better squad.
Final one would go with Shane.
Hey, Coach. Shane O'Brien from AM New York. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
That's 2 games in a row you started Julian Fernandez on the wing after rotating in the first 2 games. Is that position his to lose now?
That would be the case if it was his position. No, but he's like any other player in my squad. We have very high standards, so they have to fight throughout the week and the game time that they get in order to convince us and make sure that they are the ones who should be playing from the start. If that is not the case, you have your contribution from the sub, and that's the culture we're molding. So it keeps everybody on their toes. So hopefully he will be the one that stays in the team, but that's mainly up to himself.
Great. Thank you, everybody.